I do. Be seated.
For the record, you're...
Gil Prescott.
And you live?
528 Circle Crescent in Kingsley.
Mr. Prescott, please tell the court your relationship to the defendant.
That could get kind of confusing.
Well, you at least know Mrs. Kate Carruthers.
Yes. She was the ex-wife of the defendant and the mother of 2 daughters, Amber and Stacy Phillips. I knew them all quite well.
And your statement says that at the time of the murder, you were living with one of the daughters.
Yes. I was living with Amber.
In the apartment where Kate Carruthers was shot.
Yes.
This, Mr. Prescott, is Exhibit A. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do. It's a .45 automatic. It's mine.
And this is the gun you brought into the apartment where you were living with Amber Phillips.
Yes.
Was it loaded?
Yes, it was.
Did you engage the safety?
I don't remember, but I do know that it was on a table out in the living room.
In plain view?
I wasn't trying to hide anything.
In other words, this gun, which has already been established by the police as the murder weapon, was ready to be picked up and fired by anyone who walked into the apartment.
Yes, sir. That's right.
That wasn't very smart, leaving this gun out in the open.
Well, it was a mistake. But it was out in the open, in a private apartment with a double-lock security system on the door, in a building with a private locked door outside.
That's a good point. But why was the gun there in the first place?
Well, for 2 reasons, really. I enjoy target shooting, and I go out to the range occasionally.
Oh, really? How good are you?
Competition level.
So that's the major reason why this gun was in Amber Phillips' apartment?
No. The more important reason was for Amber's protection. I originally bought the gun for her, but she said she didn't want it, so I kept it for myself for target practice. Then when I moved back in with Amber...
Oh, wait a minute. You were living with Amber. Then you left?
That's right. We had a bit of a falling out, and then we reconciled, but it was just for a short time.
Young love.
Yeah, young love.
Am I to understand that you left and then you came back and you brought the gun back with you?
With all my other stuff, yeah. But Amber saw the gun and said she didn't want it in the apartment.
Oh, when did she say that in relation to the night of the murder?
The day before, I think. I knew a couple of guys out at the range that I thought might be interested in buying the gun, so I was going to talk to them about it.
I see. Just one more question. There's nothing in the defendant's past that would indicate that he was particularly adept with firearms. Is that gun complicated to handle?
No. If it's loaded and cocked, all you have to do is aim it and fire it.
Your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Prescott, about the gun. Well, what kind of a kickback does a .45 have when you fire it?
You do have to be ready for it.
I see. Now, suppose you were impaired, unknowingly, by some kind of a drug. Could that thing knock you down?
Sure.
Objection! Counsel is asking for an opinion.
Sustained.
Enough about firearms. I think you said a little while ago when you were talking about your relationship to the defendant here that it could get a little complicated. You know, I've always liked puzzles. I wonder if you could indulge me here.
I've already explained most of that. I know both of Dave Phillips' daughters rather well.
Well, you were certainly more than friends with Amber at one time. What about Stacy?
What is he doing? Just give him a chance.
I know Stacy rather well, too.
Which one are you closer to right now?
Stacy.
You and Stacy just now getting together?
We are trying to start again.
Oh, I see. Second chance, all that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you had already told us you had a falling out with Amber. So let me see if I can get this straight now. The scoring would go something like this. Amber to Stacy, back to Amber, and now Stacy.
I object, Your Honor. What does this have to do with a murder?
If the court will just hear me out.
Well, it doesn't seem relevant, Mr. Webster.
It is relevant, Your Honor, and I am sure I can justify it for you.
Would counsels please approach the bench? Mr. Webster, if you can't give me a good reason for this social roll call, I'm going to have to dismiss this witness.
Well, as a matter of fact, we are. Mrs. Lucas is defrosting the steaks right now.
Oh, Eric's favorite?
Oh, I can't wait to see him. Now, when are you two coming over?
Well, that's just it, Father. I happen to be over at Carla Redland's house right now.
Ah, I heard she just had a baby. How's she doing?
She did, and I'm afraid the little girl was running a fever, so Carla had to take her into the doctor's, and I'm here now waiting for Jimmy to come home.
Oh, well, what about Eric?
Yeah, well, that's just it. I don't think I'm going to be able to drive him over as
No,
planned.
just a minute. I'll drive over to Chesterfield and get him myself.
Well, I was hoping it wouldn't come to that.
Well, Mimit, if it's either that or he's going to miss a marvelous steak dinner. Come on now, you don't want him to suffer because of this unexpected emergency.
Eric certainly did have his heart set on coming.
Then it's all settled. And as I said, I'll be over to pick him up myself.
You really don't mind?
Not at all. And don't worry, we'll save a steak for you for when you get here.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you. I shouldn't be too late.
Good. Well, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sounds like good news.
In a very short time, I'm going to have Eric all to myself.
Well, that should change the contents of the conversation.
It certainly will. It's a lot easier to talk about Mim when she isn't here.
Your Honor, he's toying with their imagination.
I've seen lawyers do worse.
No, sir, Your Honor, I am not trying to manipulate anybody's imagination. May I remind the court of at least one fact that my learned counsel friend here has left out of his precious 7?
And what is that?
The fact that the defendant's fingerprints are not found on the gun, they're not found on the apartment door or in the apartment.
Because
anyway,
anyway,
the gun doesn't
All
make
right,
any difference.
stop it, both of you. Now, look, I'm going to let Mr. Webster continue with his line of questioning. But remember, Mr. Webster, we are not here for the sensational, but for the truth.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Objection overruled. Counsel will continue.
Would that be a reasonable assessment, Mr. Prescott? Back and forth, Amber to Stacy?
Yeah, that's about right. I want to make one thing clear.
Certainly.
Stacy is the one that I loved, and she's the one that I've always loved.
Well, I don't think I understand. Why in the world did you go back to Amber then for the second time?
She,
Please answer the question.
she was pregnant with my child.
And having found that out, you left, walked out on what appeared to be a maturing, satisfying relationship with Stacy, and for the sake of the child, went back to Amber. Is that right?
Yes.
I want you to describe that for me. I mean, you know, how it went going back to Amber.
It wasn't smooth. We both felt trapped.
But you were determined to give that child a name.
I was.
Oh, Amber wasn't?
She said she was at first.
And you believed her?
Enough to leave Stacy. As a matter of fact, that's the only reason I left Stacy.
And that tore you apart.
What Stacy and I had was real.
And it crushed her when you left her.
She didn't believe it.
What, that Amber was pregnant?
She didn't believe that I would leave her under any circumstances.
She was willing to wait, isn't that right? Didn't she say that Amber could have the baby and that you and Stacy could raise it?
I told her that I wouldn't do that.
But she knew you still loved her anyway.
I was forced to lie to her, to tell her that I didn't. I was forced to use her so that I could get back with Amber, so that I could be the father of my child.
And Stacy believed you.
She was crushed.
And then, on the very same night that Kate Carruthers was murdered, on that night when you had severed the final ties with the only woman you ever loved, the night that you practically destroyed her and resigned yourself to a lifetime of unanswered love, that was the night that you found out that Amber had aborted your child.
I'm not the one to tell you. It was Amber who made the decision. She should tell you.
Tell me what?
There was no need to hurt Stacy, and there's no reason to stay with Amber any longer.
No.
She aborted your child.
She had no right!
I begged her to tell you.
She laughed. She laughed in my face when she told me.
She was going
She
to...
told me about Steve.
She was going to tell you. Oh, please. Oh, wait. Gil.
She killed the only innocent things in my life.
Gil, control yourself.
No, leave me alone. Get out of my way! No! That's not the way it happened!
Order in this court. I want order in this court.
I didn't kill anybody, on purpose or by accident.
Quiet. Proceed, Mr. Webster.
Thank you, Your Honor. I only have one more question. Isn't it true, Mr. Prescott, that when Sergeant Brubaker first questioned you after the murder, that you lied about having seen Kate Carruthers on the night of the murder?
Yes, but I went back there that very same day and told the truth.
Well, wouldn't it be a little more accurate to say you were called back and kind of cornered into telling the truth? Well, I'll just take that to be a yes for the record. I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Lockwood, you wish to redirect?
Your Honor, I'll deal with the questions the defense has raised in my closing statement.
Why is he doing that? I assume it's because he has no comeback.
Very well. We will recess for today.
All rise.
What's wrong? What? He's completely wrong. He's missed it.
This is the first time since this nightmare began that I feel encouraged.
Well, it's about time.
I mean it, thank you.
Dave, we're not out of the woods yet.
I know, but at least now I feel that we have a chance of getting out.
Stacy, don't you think we've had enough angry standoffs for one day? Please let me by.
What you did to Dad was criminal.
What I did was tell the truth about a criminal. Now move. Oh, look, Stacy, I don't have time to watch you freak out again today.
Stacy.
Now let me by.
Stacy, just let her by.
You know, I don't know who to root for anymore. The defense or the prosecution.
Well, anyone for milk and cookies?
Oh, my, no, it's much too close to dinner. Yeah, we'll be fine.
Very well. I'll be in the kitchen.
Well, come on over here and sit down. It's good to see you. Nice to have you here. And looking at you, I don't think you seem any the worse for wear as a result of your recent scuffle.
Yeah. I might have hit that other kid harder than I thought.
Oh, really? How?
He hasn't picked on me anymore. He might even be scared of me.
Oh, I'm proud of you, Eric. Now, you see, just when you thought things were getting very bad, actually they were getting better. And that's, well, it's a little bit like me.
Huh?
Well, you see, after the hearing, the court hearing, that is, I was afraid that I'd lost you for good, but we're still very good friends.
You never lost me. You can still borrow me every once in a while.
Well, for the time being, certainly, but I do wish that you and your mother lived here.
That'd be great. But Mom's already looking for a place of her own.
Ah, has she found anything yet?
Nope. Hasn't found a job either. But she keeps believing for one.
Believing for me. That's the way she describes it.
Doesn't she tell you about looking for a job?
Oh, well, certainly. Of course she does. I was just checking up on things. But if you manage to hear anything more, please let me know, because your mother just might forget about it a little bit. After all, she's got a lot on her mind, particularly money.
She's got money. Grandma sends it to her.
What? You mean your grandmother is supporting you and your mother?
She just helps her out. That's what Mom says.
Eric, you know, I offered to help your mother, too, the same way, and she wouldn't let me.
You know, I don't see why Mom hates you.
No, neither do I. And it still hurts me very deeply.
Mom's in the hospital? What's wrong?
No, now, Jimmy, just take it easy. Your mother is. She's fine. She's fine. But it is about your sister.
Is Alicia sick?
Well, Jimmy, I really don't
Is
know.
anyone home?
Oh, hi.
I was wondering whether or not you'd be home just by now.
Yeah, Jimmy just got here, and I was just starting to explain about...
Is Alicia all right?
Well, sweetheart, I just came back from the hospital, and your sister has a little lung infection.
Is that serious?
Well, it can be, but with all that good care at the hospital and all the prayers that are offered up on her behalf, we know she's going to be just fine.
Well, where's Mom?
Well, she wanted to stay at the hospital with the baby a little longer. You see, they're going to hold Alicia for a few more days before they release her. Well, now, sweetheart, now you going on upstairs and change your clothes, and I'll get a little supper on the table.
Are you staying over tonight?
Yes, I am. Now, scoot!
Hey, Eric isn't here, is he?
No, he's not. Matter of fact, yeah, he's at his grandfather's by now.
Well, he promised me he'd teach me how to work his computer.
I did, huh? Well, I guess I'll have to remind him to live up to that when I see him.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, Io, now, tell me, is Alicia all right?
Oh, well, you know a lung infection can be very serious, but she's in the right place. Jean had to go up to Perryville to research something, and I wanted to stay with Carla as long as possible. Say, listen, why don't you stay for dinner with us?
Oh, no, I can't at all, thanks. But, in fact, I already have another invitation at my father's, and I'm late for that.
Oh, well, now you just run on along.
Okay.
And thank you so much for waiting for Jimmy.
Oh, it's no bother. Just do me a favor and please pray that everything goes all right at this dinner.
Oh, I will, sweetheart. You know I'm gonna do just that.
Here. This ought to keep you warm. Stacy, you haven't said a word.
What's left to say? This is a nightmare that's going to keep going for long after the trial's ended.
Stacy, I need to hear you say something.
What?
I'm serious. I need to hear you say that you know that I didn't kill her. And Webster, I mean, that guy, where did he come from out of left field with that line of questioning? I mean, you can't imagine how I felt. I went up there thinking that I was going to be a witness, and now I'm a suspect for murder. Stacy, I don't care what other people believe about what I said up there on that stand. I love you so much. Tell me that you believe me.
It's so cold. I can't remember a colder November.
Stacy, my question.
I don't think you killed my mother. You don't have to convince me of that.
Thank you.
Don't thank me. The whole idea is ridiculous. I may not want to see my father convicted, but I know when his lawyer's grasping at straws.
That's it. That's what he's doing. Stacy, I want to hold you.
No, let's just not pretend that this is a casual evening, Gil. Would you please just leave?
You know, when I saw Amber up there on the stand, I was glad that you and I were together.
Glad that you chose me.
No. Thankful that you would have me. I'll call you later.